I'd like to spend some time now going over an open system, that is, the existence of supernatural gods, goddesses, forces that exist alongside the physical world. And we can generally put them in three primary categories. You have pantheism, which is the belief in an impersonal, infinite, omnipresent God. You have polytheism, which is the belief in finite, personal gods. And then you have theism, which is somewhat of a combination of the two. You've got an infinite God who is omnipresent, but who, much like a polytheistic God, is personal, that is, can make choices and decisions, and that we can appeal to, and that we can have a relationship with. And so I would like to spend a couple of minutes going through the implications of pantheism and polytheism, and then in the next video start with the theistic worldview. With pantheism, you have supernatural forces that are infinite, impersonal, irrational, eternal, and omnipresent. Also, these forces are the primary reality of the universe and are the foundation of all life. Third, the ability to understand and apply supernatural laws determines the quality of all physical and spiritual existence. And nothing dies. Everything is part of the eternal. So what we call death is simply a change of form. It's a transition from one form to another. And in true pantheistic views, personal distinctions are ultimately illusionary. And so those are the primary implications to the pantheistic world view. You have a god or a god force that is made up of everything in the universe, and God then is not personal. You can't really relate to God. God is in everything, and God is everything. And so you hear folks these days talking about the universe tells me to do this, or the universe tells me to do that. And what they are really doing is personalizing what is understood to be actually a very impersonal force. Does somebody really talk to the universe? Does the universe really talk to us? And you can see examples of this, in particular, in understanding the supernatural laws to affect the natural world in the Star Wars movies, for example, understanding the Force, learning lessons from Yoda. You see this in the popular book by Rhonda Bryn in 2006 called The Secret, where she talks about the supernatural laws of attraction. And the classic example is, if you want a parking space, you need to think of a parking space. And with the supernatural law of attraction, you will end up replicating in the physical world what you are thinking about in your mind. And so and you see incantations, you see mantras, you see spells, you see ways of manipulating or using the supernatural forces in the world to actually manipulate the physical universe. You see this in Buddhism. You see the 8 ways, or the 8 paths to enlightenment. And the Buddhists don't really think that there is a supernatural force that you can talk to, but rather a supernatural force that you can plug into, that you can understand and be a part of. So in Hermann Hesse's book Siddhartha, The end of the book just ends, and it's a story about the Buddha. It just ends with the Buddha saying Om, and with that he has entered into the nirvana. He has entered into enlightenment. He has found a way in which he could tap into fully the divine force or the supernatural laws. Another example of supernatural laws and pantheistic worldview are reincarnation. So nothing really dies. Everything is a part of the eternal. So it's a transition, and our spirit moves from one thing to another. And you see this in Hinduism. You also see this in Buddhism. How many lives will it take for us to be enlightened? And also in pantheistic worldview, personal distinctions tend to be somewhat blurred. So, and the reason for that is because everything is God. So how can you divide things up? How can you say that a man has more of God in it than a cow or a chicken or the grass or the tree? And so everything is divine, and there are really no personal distinctions. Lao Tzu, a Chinese mystic, once said, "If when I am a man, I am dreaming that I am a butterfly, how do I know that I am not a butterfly dreaming that I am a man?" And so when we talk about pantheism, those are the ideas that we're talking about. Now, when we move on to polytheism, you've got the exact opposite. Instead of an impersonal, omnipresent force or God, you've got gods that are personal, but not infinite. You've got gods that are limited in their scope, in what they do, but they are personal, and so they can make choices. They can be appealed to for help. They may cooperate with each other or conflict with each other. And then there's generally a hierarchy of gods whose power can be limited, and personal relationships are possible. And it is possible to have personal gods within a larger pantheistic system. As I just mentioned, Hinduism is an example of that. But the classic examples of polytheism we can think of in terms of Greek gods or Roman gods. Romans stole the ideas of the Greek gods. So Zeus became Jupiter, Aphrodite became Venus. And so you can appeal to Aphrodite or Venus, for example, if you want romance, if you want love, because those are the goddesses of love. You can appeal to Zeus or Jupiter, who are the gods of thunder, if you want good weather, if you want the crops to grow. You can appeal to Neptune if you want safe passage on the seas. And so you have personal gods that you can relate to and who are limited in scope. And so you've got two very different worldviews, two very different understandings of what God is like. You've got the pantheistic, impersonal, irrational force that lives alongside supernatural laws. You have that lives alongside natural laws, I should say. And so you have supernatural laws that you can plug into, that you can understand, that you can manipulate, and will help you in your physical life. Or you've got personal finite gods that do make choices that you can appeal to for help. And so those are the two primary worldview ideas behind most of the religions in the world. And then the next one we will spend a little more time going through. That is the theistic worldview, which combines both. You have in theism the personal, infinite, omnipotent, rational God. So you've got qualities of both the omnipotent and omnipresent God in pantheism, and then you've got the rational, personal gods in polytheism that you can actually appeal to and you can have a relationship with.